Hi, I'm Rick, Creative Director with The Haven. I'm just here to share a few words of hope and encouragement, particularly for creatives at this really strange and difficult time in our history. Most of us are under lockdown in the midst of the pandemic. I've been thinking a bit about freedom. Because I think certainly for me and probably for most of us, not all of us, but most of us, this time of being under lockdown is probably the first time in our lives that our freedoms have been so curtailed. We can't do what we want to do. We can't just go out when we want to go out. We can't see the people we want to see. We can't go to the places we want to go. Just the kind of stuff we just take for granted, like going to the pub or the cafe or just going out for a walk and so on, or just seeing friends. And it can feel crushing as our world gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So where do we find freedom? And I think as creatives, we have a really wonderful way of exploring freedom if we're willing to grasp it. You know, I can take a pencil and just start to make marks on the paper, and one of the miraculous things about drawing for me is that it's just the most primal way of making marks. Primitive men and women, primitive people, like tens of thousands of years ago, would have taken that charred stick out of the fire and just made marks on white rocks. Say, it's the most primal way of expressing ourselves. And then and so what we have is just different densities of carbon on a surface, and then suddenly it conjures up worlds, and it conjures up people, and it conjures up feelings, and all of us who are creative have the freedom to do that. Even locked down if we're stuck in a little room, we have the freedom to do that. We have the freedom to create. If you are a visual artist, you've got the freedom to conjure up worlds on the surface of the piece of paper or the canvas. If you're an abstract artist, you're conjuring up inner worlds of feelings of passion, excitement, love, desire, grief. All of this, you've got the freedom to express that on the paper, on the canvas. If you're a writer, you have the freedom to create worlds, to create people, to create whole universes in the way that you use words. If you're a musician, you have the freedom to make these sounds that evoke so much in those who hear it. So yeah, times are hard, times are tough, and so many of our freedoms are curtailed. But step into that creative freedom. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece. It doesn't have to be a piece of work that's going to set the world on fire, although it might do. Just make those marks on the paper. Start with those faltering words, and then find your way into those places of creative freedom where you can conjure whole worlds into being. Keep safe, keep well, look after yourself. And do get in touch if you want to talk through any of the creative work you're doing at the moment, or any of just the emotional, spiritual stuff you're facing at the moment too. Bless you.